So I've been using the Android QPR Beta 1 update on my Pixel Fold daily since it came out last week. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a game changer for the Pixel Fold. There's so many different features, so many new things coming, but it really boils down to like three kind of key features that I think are really going to change your everyday experience with the Pixel Fold. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So today, it's Google Pixel Fold, Android QPR Beta 1. So as I mentioned in the intro, it really boils down to three key features. And that's not to say that there's not a ton of different features that are coming with this update. There are, even for, more traditional slab style Pixel owners. But the Pixel Fold is really the device that it feels like this update was intended for. It is the first one since Google's been able to get, some really solid feedback and has some time to actually bring in some of the improvements and changes that people have been talking about. So let's go ahead and switch over to the top down. That way we can go ahead and get right into it. So first things first is going to be app pairs. So for those who don't know what app pairs are, I'll bring in the Galaxy Z Fold 5 to kind of demonstrate because as of right now, I think you have to run an ADB command to even get it running on the Pixel Fold, but it is set to be enabled, once this update does go live for everybody, to my knowledge. So first things first, app pairs are essentially a quick way to be able to, launch multiple apps at one time. Now, in Samsung's case, and if you are a Pixel Fold owner, I wouldn't necessarily expect this. You can launch two apps or even three apps. So just to kind of give y'all an idea, I'm trying to find a three one that I can actually use. I don't want to show any work stuff. So like I'll switch it into this orientation and then I'll launch this particular app pair. You'll see I got Google Chrome here at the top. I have YouTube here on the left side, and then I have X on the bottom right. So typically what I use this layout for, I'll have like an NFL or NBA game going on here with like next to no audio. I'll be keeping tabs on a live stream, if one of the homies is live streaming. And then honestly, I have my social media feed. Now, whether or not you feel like this is warranted is totally subjective, and that's up to you. I honestly don't care. If you use it, great. If you don't, no problem. Just don't use it. But this is one of the ways that I like to use my device, and it's really convenient to be able to launch all three of those applications. Or even if I say, for example, just want to launch, X and YouTube, top and bottom, to be able to press one button. To be able to press one button and have both apps go ahead and do their thing in split screen instance. Currently, again, there's no way to do this on Pixel Fold. You kind of have to do it the old school way, which I'll bring in, Spotify, and then we'll say the Android update menu or whatever. So as you can see, that's kind of the only way for you to do it. And then once you close out, I mean, you obviously have the option to resume it or whatever, but there's no way to just quickly launch multiple apps at one time. It's something that's been on the Surface Duo, previous Z Folds, things like that. We've even seen Google themselves, kind of dabble in it, in the past with other updates. So hopefully this is something that we will see finally come to, fruition with the QPR1 release. So that is the first major change. And that's when I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of because it kind of pushes that multitasking another step forward. I love this device, but compared to something like the Z Fold 5, the multitasking definitely needs to be better on this device. Now, the second one is going to be here in the settings. I'll actually go over to it. We go to display and it's continue using apps on Fold. Now, previously, this option didn't exist, but now we have three separate options. Now, what this essentially means is whenever you close the device, the screen will turn back on the cover screen. You can continue doing whatever it is that you're doing. So we'll open it back up and you can see it brings me right back to where I left off at. So typically the normal default, interaction with this particular feature is the second option, which is only games, videos, and more. So anything that's a video, that's a game, it'll continue it on the front cover. Me personally, I like to set it as always. If I'm done using my phone, typically I'll lock it and then close it. And as you can see, it goes to the always on display anyway. So typically speaking, I want to go ahead and continue what I'm doing on the front cover. I can see that coming in handy, if I'm reading Tachiyomi. So like I'm reading some manga, some Baki. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this is like the new manga on the block. But like if I'm reading something like this and I'm like in a line at a theme park or something, and I want to say close it because I only got one hand, maybe I need to scan my band or something. I can continue doing what I'm doing on the front cover page. Now, one of the bugs I'll let y'all know right up front with the QPR beta is certain applications, it's not all of them, but certain applications, when you try to go from this closed state to the open state, you'll see what happens. The app will essentially freak out and it'll force close. So currently, so far, I want to say like two or three apps that are doing this. I know for me, the YouTube app is doing it, the Tachiyomi app is doing it, and I think my camera app is also doing it. Now, typically, I don't go from cover screen to inner screen when using the camera. I don't use the camera with the phone unfolded for the most part. So that one doesn't really bother me. Obviously, if I'm going to use it with the screen open, I'm doing the whole cover screen preview anyway. So that one, like I said, isn't a huge big deal for the camera, but for something like YouTube, I watch YouTube more than I watch normal TV. So that's something I definitely would like to see them update with beta 2 or kind of fix. It's definitely not intentional behavior. Everybody seems to be having the same issue, so I'm sure Google will get on top of that as well. But yeah, just having the ability to, continue to use apps from the large screen to the cover screen just is gonna make it an overall more seamless experience when transitioning from your inner screen to your outer screen, which as a foldable, this shouldn't feel like two separate phones. It should feel like one device that can transform into whatever you need. So me personally, I'll be leaving that on always. Hopefully Google can kind of take care of that and fix that as soon as possible. The last one, and I saved this one for last because it is a little bit of a point of contention for me, and that's going to be the app stretching. So I'll go ahead and open this up and we can kind of demonstrate what that is. Let me go into the settings. You can find this under the apps menu, and you can kind of even see having some weirdness going on with the refresh rate from that earlier bug. So when that tends to happen, typically I'll just unlock and relock it and it'll kind of fix itself out. I'll restart it after the video if need be. 60 hertz ain't gonna kill nobody for this video. But anyway, go into the aspect ratio. That's going to be the new setting. And you'll see like this new kind of layout where it's going to show you some suggested apps that it thinks will do well with the stretching. And it's going to have all apps. And then these are apps that I've already overwritten. So you can already see I've overwritten quite a few. Now, what I'll do is I'll do an app like, I think I have Disney on here. Yeah, I have the Disney World app. So let's do app default first. I'll go ahead and open it. You can see we get our letterboxing and you get this new little icon that pops up here, and I'll leave the app and then go back into it. There it is. So that way y'all can see that. So it's a little pop up here. You can click that and it'll take you to this aspect ratio page. Now I'll go ahead and stretch out the app to full screen. It does give you some other options here. So you got half screen, 4:3. The app will restart whenever you change aspect ratio. You may lose unsaved changes. So keep that in mind as y'all are using this feature. I put it on full screen, I open it, and as you can see, the app now stretches fully across the display itself. Now, some apps, and this is kind of where I get to the whole contention point, right? Obviously this looks better than having the letterboxing, but this is never going to be the final solution or the final stop. And I'm kind of afraid that if app developers catch the wind of this, of Google just allowing us to stretch out apps, that they lose that incentive to actually go ahead and make the changes necessary for their app. So that kind of scares me. Like I said, I'm a little bit torn because I do like the fact that some applications that I don't expect to have a tablet app, I can stretch. And I'll give you the Disney app, for example. Like this app is honestly the perfect example for it. So this is an app that is primarily ran on slab style phones. I've never seen anyone at Disney walking around with a Pixel tablet or a Galaxy tablet or an iPad navigating the park. I always see people using smartphones using this Disney application. Now you may say, well, why is this app even important? I can go to Disney, whatever. So it actually shows you all of your ride times. You can book, different times for your rides and stuff like that if you use the guest accessibility service. Good grief, words are hard. Guest accessibility service feature, which we do get to take advantage of. You can actually use this to schedule those rides if you're in the park. So this app is a fundamental, you know, really significant portion of your Disney experience. But again, typically we see this app for um normal slab phones. We don't typically see people walking around Disney with tablets. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for Disney to take resources to building a tablet version of this application because most people aren't using tablets with it. It's a very, very, very small amount of people using foldables. So I can kind of understand that thought process behind it. So I think my kind of new way that I feel about it is give people the option, which is what Google did. Some apps are going to do great being stretched out. Then you're going to have other apps, and I'll even show you an example. Afterpay is another really dope app that I take advantage of if you want to do the whole paying for kind of thing or whatever. But you'll see here at the bottom, the little navigation icons are totally messed up because I'm stretching out the application. And just to kind of prove my point, I'll go back into it. I'll change this aspect ratio back over to the default and we'll reopen the app. And as you can see, everything is exactly the way it should be laid out. But then when you go forward and you start trying to, mess with the aspect ratio, some apps still are gonna give you issues, whether it's the navigation bar, whether it's some content getting cut off. So that's why I'm saying it's one of those things where it's good that they give us the option, but we also got to be careful with that as well. Sometimes having some app stretch out isn't always going to be the best solution for everything. Like there is no real blanket solution, especially when we have developers like Overdrop, for example. I might have to actually go to the app, but we have apps like Overdrop who are actually doing some work to take advantage of foldables and of tablet displays. Granted, they do got some work to do with that wasted space, but even still, like I said, it is dope to see some developers taking advantage of the extra space for applications. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Overall, still good that we at least have the choice to do it. Should we need to? Should we want to? If you don't want to, you can leave everything on app default. If you want to stretch everything out, you can now do that too. So those are kind of, like I said, the three main things that I think are really going to take this device to another level in terms of just the overall foldable experience. It goes from feeling like a device that, was missing quite a bit of polish and quite a bit of polish and just a little bit of refinement to being something that's like pound for pound, feature for feature. It's looking really, really close from a foldable perspective to something like the Z Fold 5, which is obviously has significantly more time to bake and to get more polish. So we're not out of the woods yet. This is still in beta, so I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, because some things can be taken out, some things could be changed, whatever the case may be. But let's see what happens when it fully releases. I just kind of wanted to give like a little sneak preview of what some of these new features are going to do for Pixel Fold users. I know some people, that app one was a big one for them. It's some of the reasons why some people even return the Pixel Fold because of the whole app optimization stuff. So, like I said, Pixel Fold users rejoice. It looks like we're getting some really solid improvements. That's where I'm going to put a pin in this video. But let me know if you've been running the Android QPR Beta, which I do not recommend on your main device. If you have been running it in any capacity, let me know in the comment section below. How's it been running for you? What are some of your favorite features? But as always, thank y'all so much for the love and the support. This is Ike's Tech Talk. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.